Industrial policy is often misunderstood as governments attempting to control markets or pick winners. In reality, decades of economic research show that industrial policy operates very differently. It is not about direct control, but about solving coordination failures, managing risk and aping incentives where markets alone struggle to function efficiently. Economists have long recognized that certain industries face barriers markets cannot easily overcome. Research in development economics, including work by scholars like Danny Roderick and Joseph Stiglitz, highlights how high fixed costs, learning effects, and network dependencies can prevent potentially productive industries from emerging without coordination. In these cases, firms hesitate to invest because success depends on complementary investments by others. No single firm wants to move first. Industrial policy intervenes by reducing uncertainty and sharing risk. Historical examples illustrate this clearly. Post-war Japan's Ministry of International Trade and Industry did not command production. Instead, it coordinated financing, technology transfer, and export support, allowing firms to scale while remaining subject to competition. Similar patterns appeared in South Korea's industrialization during the 1960s and 1970s, where the state provided targeted credit and export incentives while withdrawing support from underperforming firms. These cases are well documented in economic history research. The key lesson is that successful industrial policy maintained discipline. Firms that failed to meet performance benchmarks lost support. This prevented long-term dependence, and encouraged competitiveness. Industrial policy also works through institutions rather than directives. Studies by the World Bank and OECD show that effective policies rely on capable bureaucracies that can monitor outcomes, adjust incentives, and resist capture. Where institutional capacity is weak, industrial policy tends to fail regardless of funding levels. Germany provides another instructive example. Rather than large subsidies, its industrial strength rests on vocational training systems, applied research institutions, and long-term finance. These policies shape market behavior indirectly by supporting skill development and innovation ecosystems. Timing plays a crucial role. Research on path dependence shows that early interventions shape long-term trajectories. Industrial policy is most effective when industries are emerging, not mature. Late-stage intervention often protects incumbents without generating productivity gains. China's industrial expansion offers a contemporary example. Rather than centralized planning alone, industrial growth was driven by experimentation, local competition, and gradual scaling. Policies were tested at small scale, adjusted, or abandoned based on results. Economists studying China describe this as trial and error governance. Failures reveal the limits of industrial policy. Where governments provide permanent support without performance conditions, firms adapt to subsidies rather than markets. Empirical studies consistently show that policies without clear exit mechanisms lead to inefficiency and rent-seeking. Another important mechanism is regulation and standards. Setting technical standards can determine which technologies scale globally. Public procurement creates early demand that allows firms to invest and learn. Research shows these tools often outperform direct subsidies in shaping markets. Importantly, industrial policy does not eliminate competition. Successful cases preserved market discipline. Poorly performing firms failed. The state influenced direction, not outcomes. Modern industrial policy debates often overlook this nuance. The question is not whether industrial policy works, but how it is designed. Evidence shows that success depends on governance quality, feedback loops, and the ability to withdraw support. Industrial policy is therefore not an ideological tool. It is a systems-level intervention aimed at solving specific market failures. When designed with discipline, transparency, and adaptability, it has repeatedly supported industrial development. When those conditions are absent, it produces distortion. Understanding how industrial policy actually works requires moving beyond slogans. It is not about choosing winners. It is about creating conditions where competitive industries can emerge. The difference between success and failure lies not in intent, but in execution.